Okay, ladies and gentlemen, find a seat, please. We're about to call to order the Housing Authority, Norwalk Housing Authority. Teresa, roll call, please.
Agency members Ramirez,
Here.
Rios,
Here.
Agency member Hernandez,
Here.
Vice Chair Perez,
Here.
and Chair Ayala.
Here. Okay, well, next item, consent calendar, items 1 through 2. Comments, questions, motions?
Move it.
Second. Margarita.
Roll call.
Agency members Hernandez,
I abstain from item number 68822.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Rios,
Aye.
Vice Chair Perez,
Aye.
and Chair Ayala.
Aye. Oh, yeah, thanks. Do we have a community development director's report?
No report.
No report. All right. City clerk, do we have any cards for oral communications?
None for housing, thank you.
Okay. With that, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Norwalk City Council. We have invocation by Pastor Myrna from Spirit of Life Church. And following the invocation, we have young Marine Private Eddie Reese, who will lead the flag salute. He is a 6th grade student at Doty Middle School. And at the end, please, join us for a photo. So, Pastor Myrna.
Let's pray. Bow your heads with me. Father God, we come before you in Jesus' name, and we thank you so much for this opportunity, God. We pray that you would lead and guide every decision that is made tonight, God. We lift before you our council members, our mayor, our vice mayor, God. Every member that's here, God, every director, every person that's in charge of a department, I pray that you would give them wisdom, that you would open up their understanding, that they would be able to lead our city well, God. We pray, God, for our first responders, for our fire department, our police department, God. I pray that you would protect them. We thank you, God, for their service to our city, our public safety officers, God. We thank you so much for all that they do. And we pray, God, that you would continue to bless our city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Young Marines, come forward.
Good evening. Please rise and join me in the pledge to our flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Come on, council. We have the young Marines up and Pastor Myrna here. We have a token for you of our esteem. Special honor to do so, but not too many people get to do that during the year. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Pastor Myrna, here's a token of our affections for doing our invocation. Thank you. City Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, council members Ramirez,
Here.
Rios,
Here.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Here.
Mayor Ayala.
Here. City Attorney, could we have a closed session report, please?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and the public. Record should reflect that 4 members of the City Council present this evening were present in closed session, with Councilmember Valencia absent. And the following will be my report. Item 1, conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 for the assessor for the properties listed by their assessor parcel numbers on the agenda, and negotiating parties being the city manager. Record should reflect that staff provided a briefing to the City Council on the status and use of these subject properties. Direction was provided but is not reportable at this time. Item 2, conference with the real property negotiator, Government Code Section 54956.8 for the properties listed on your agenda, and the negotiating parties being the city manager. Once again, staff provided a briefing to the City Council on the status of these properties. Direction was provided to the City Council but is not final or reportable. And finally, item 3, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, subdivision D1, in the state of California versus City of Norwalk matter. City attorney provided a briefing to the City Council on the status of this case and outcome of recent hearings. No direction or action was taken at this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chris. City Council comments. Councilmember Perez, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meeting. I hope you're excited for some great weather this week. I just wanted to give a few shout outs. A huge thank you to our entire team in social services and the senior center. We had our volunteer appreciation dinner a few weeks ago for our Angel Tree program and our Thanksgiving dinner at the senior center. Gabby, you and your team always know how to put on such a great recognition and appreciation event. So thank you to you and to all of your teams and for all of our volunteers and sponsors that came out that evening as well. I'd also just like to share that I've continued to go to the Executive Committee of Regional Homeless meeting. We had a meeting last week, and with that, the county's homeless count starts tonight throughout the entire county. And the City of Norwalk's homeless count is tomorrow. Homeless count 2025, we need volunteers. So if you're able and willing and available tomorrow, we are looking for volunteers to go out in our community in the evening to count our homeless population. You'll be meeting at the Norwalk Social Services Center on Alondra Boulevard tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. There will be instructions and direction given. You will not be going out on your own. You will be paired with wonderful members of our team, with those that we partner with in the other associations. But the reason why this count is so important is because of our Measure A funding is really going to rely on our point-in-time count. And that count happens tomorrow night. So we need to have as many people as possible. We need to be as accurate as possible. So anybody that is out there and able to come, please come in and work with our team, our public safety, our HOPE team, our sheriff's department, and our wonderful team at the Social Services Center. So those of you that are around tomorrow, we'll see you at the Social Services Center. That's all I have tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ramirez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No comments this evening.
Councilmember Rios.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Just a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to share is that this month is National Black History Month, and the theme for 2025 is African Americans in Labor. And the theme highlights the significant role that Black Americans have played in the history of the United States throughout their work. So just want to mention that and remind you all that from February 1st to March 1st, 2025 is Black History Month. The other thing that I wanted to mention is, so I represent the City Council and City with the Council of Governments organization, and gratefully, of course, And the director, Hector De La Torre, has done an actual very good job with uniting the different cities that are members of the COG and really listening to what the different issues are throughout our region and being a great partner. And one of the things that we share or have in common with throughout the region is the issue on homelessness and assisting those individuals experiencing homelessness, the unhoused population. So the last meeting, we like to, or he brings in a success story, when we have one. And we have more than we actually are aware of. I know that commonly we'll talk about all the challenges. What are we doing? We're not doing enough, et cetera, right? And we don't always hear about all the positive work that happens, sometimes behind the scenes. It's not very obvious to everyone, but it does occur. And through the collaboration, particularly of our Hope team, which they do great work, outreach, and actually trying to assist and house those individuals throughout our community. So I wanted to share some information with you on this particular success story because this individual was in Norwalk. Okay, so in late September 2024, Joseph, and we'll just use a first name, a 38-year-old Latino man, found himself at the lowest point of his life. After years of struggling with alcoholism, he lost everything: his job, his home, and his sense of purpose. With nowhere to go, he ended up homeless in Norwalk, spending 3 months moving between the streets and occasional nights in motels when he could afford it. Determined to turn his life around, Joseph sought help from the Norwalk Social Services Department. They saw his willingness to change and referred him to SHARE, Collaborative Housing, and the Gateway Cities COG Home to Employment program. Through SHARE, Joseph secured stable housing in a beautiful SHARE collaborative house in Norwalk, giving him the foundation he needed to rebuild his life. SHARE also enrolled him with SHARP, another Gateway Cities COG partner, to support him in addressing mental health and substance abuse challenges. With a safe place to stay, Joseph's next step was finding work. SHARE enrolled him with the Celico Workforce Development Board, which we also are a part of, a Gateway Cities COG partner, which provided him with job leads, employment case management, resume assistance, and even a bicycle to help him with transportation. The support paid off. He landed a seasonal job at Didi's Discounts for the holidays. Determined to build a better future, Joseph continued looking for long-term opportunities. His persistence paid off when he was accepted into a training program at Stater Brothers Markets in the meat department. Even better, his new job is covered under the UFCW union, so now he has a union job, giving him job security, fair wages, and benefits. Beyond work, Joseph has found a sense of community and purpose. He gets along well with his roommate, often offers them help when needed, and actively participates in recovery meetings. He remains committed to his sobriety and is grateful for the second chance he's been given. Today, Joseph is not just surviving, he's thriving. He has a stable home, a promising career path, and a renewed sense of purpose. His journey proves that with the right support and determination, anyone can overcome hardship and build a better future. So I just wanted to share that success story with you all. Again, this gentleman was homeless in the city of Norwalk, and through our social services department, our Hope team, our partners with other entities, agencies, including our COG, we have a success story to share. And so I was, just really happy when I heard that we could help this particular individual, and I know that there's many other situations where we have, and just so that our community of Norwalk knows that we are resilient, we are persistent, and we're making a difference for those that need it the most. So thank you. That's it. Thank you.
I have my colleagues and I have a letter here that I'm just going to go ahead and read. It's from the Office of the City Manager from the City of Pasadena, and it's relative to the fires that were going on out there. And anyway, this letter is addressed to Mr. Jesus Gomez, City Manager, City of Norwalk. You know the address. Anyway, it says, Dear City Manager Gomez, on behalf of the City of Pasadena, Pasadena Water and Power, as well as the residents of Pasadena and Altadena, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to the Norwalk CERT team for their incredible volunteer efforts at the bottled water distribution site during the recent Do Not Drink Water notice resulting from the 2025 Eaton Fire wildfire. The dedication and selflessness displayed by the Norwalk CERT team, as impeccably organized by Ms. Jasmine Salas, consisting of Amanda Marufo, Ashley Benitez, Betty Carranza, Claudia Pavon, Diane Rojo, Fernando Martinez, Fernando Rodriguez, Henry Fimbres, Jacob Dominguez, Jane Weiss, Ken White, Natalie Herrera, Nicole Pena, Patty Guzman, Richard Newton, Torres Eduardo, Valeria Marufo, and Vicky Cuthbertson in responding to our call for help were truly remarkable. Their willingness to travel to our community and assist in distributing bottled water to affected residents was a testament to their training, compassion, and commitment to serving others in times of need. The Norwalk CERT team's presence brought a sense of relief and reassurance to our residents during a challenging time. Their professionalism and teamwork were instrumental in ensuring that we could meet the immediate needs of our community efficiently and effectively. Please convey our heartfelt appreciation to the CERT team for their invaluable support. Their actions exemplify the very best of what community service and collaboration can achieve, and we are immensely grateful for their assistance. We are fortunate to have such strong partners in the City of Norwalk and look forward to continuing to work together to build a stronger, more resilient communities. This is signed by Miguel Marquez, the City Manager of the City of Pasadena. So congratulations to our CERT team, and Mr. Gomez, Mr. Ramos, be sure to let those folks know. I'm sure they'll get a copy of this letter, and just want to thank them publicly. We have next we have special presentations. We're going to recognize the Calhoun Program residents for achieving home ownership. Tonight we recognize the first family to achieve their dreams of home ownership. That's pretty exciting, through the City of Norwalk's Calhoun Program. To assist with this presentation, can we please have the representatives from the Global Urban Strategies come to the podium? Joining them will be the Norwalk recipients, Leonel Hernandez, Elizabeth Ventura, and Eusebio Ventura, or Eusebio, I'm sorry.
So, Mayor and members of the City Council, if I may say a few words. Omar Hernandez from Global Urban Strategies has been instrumental in helping us apply for these types of grants at the state level. And we were able to get close to $2.5 million where residents or potential applicants can be eligible for up to $200,000 in down payment assistance for their home. And so we wanted to not only recognize Global Urban Strategy for their efforts in securing the grant, but also the first recipients of the grant, and also let you know that as your priority has been to continue to have home ownership in our city, this is the first family that has achieved that. I've already signed 5 other letters for 5 other families, and so we wanted to recognize the family tonight to just let you know that we are working towards your priorities for home ownership, and that they are the recipients and Norwalk residents. Thank you.
Before we actually roll into the photograph and whatnot, I think a couple of my colleagues might have a couple comments about this program because we've been waiting for this for such a long time. I'm sure they'll probably articulate it better than me. You want to go first?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I am super excited to see our first family here before us. We've been patiently waiting for this to come to fruition. I know about 5 years ago, it was something that, I introduced as an idea, and I can't do anything by myself. Again, graciously and gratefully, the city council, our team here in the city of Norwalk saw this vision that we recognized because we know that one of the ways that we advance our city forward is by giving the opportunity for families like yourself to lay roots down in the city that will last for generations, I pray. And so this moment is very, very special to us here. And thank you, Omar, for getting us to this point. A lot of hard work. Thank you for everything that you did to help us. Thank you to Jesus Gomez and his team, and of course to the City Council for the leadership, the vision that the City Council has for this community. Very, very exciting moment, and congratulations. I hope you guys are just being humble right now because I'm guessing you're ready to jump out of your skin, right? Congratulations. Thank you, Mayor.
Jennifer, Rick, any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm excited as well. We've always pushed for home ownership in Norwalk, and to finally see those funds in action, right? Because those funds have been sitting there for a long time. We're always trying to figure out how do we utilize those funds effectively and efficiently, and no better way to help those who are seeking to plant roots here in the city of Norwalk. So on behalf of the entire city, welcome to Norwalk. We appreciate you investing in us as we will invest in you. So congratulations.
Thanks, Rick. Jennifer?
Welcome to Norwalk and congratulations. And I want to thank you for being dedicated to the process because I'm sure, it's not easy, right? You have to fill out applications and provide backup and data. And I'm sure sometimes it can be frustrating, but look at where it brought you. You're at the end goal, right? Congratulations to you, our team, my colleagues. Today really is a special day. So take that big check to the bank and let's go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry. I just, for la familia que están aquí presente, le quiero dar bueno, primeramente es una bendición tenerlos aquí, que ustedes tengan esta oportunidad de tener un hogar que han escogido aquí en la ciudad de Norwalk, y nosotros con el apoyo que tenemos aquí para la comunidad, esperamos que ustedes sigan contentos, que están aquí y que se acuerden que han logrado un sueño muy grande. Y nosotros como un concilio aquí en la ciudad de Norwalk estamos muy agradecidos que pudimos ayudarles, y ojalá sigan adelante aquí con nosotros en la ciudad de Norwalk. Bienvenidos.
Okay, council, let's take a picture.
Mayor, I think they have a presentation. They wanted to speak, if you may. Okay, great.
Let's take one of this photo here, and then let's make sure we have a photo with our other photos.
Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Do one more. 3, 2, 1.
I like the thumbs up.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, one more. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, staff, members of the City of Norwalk. For many, many years, and for many, many people, the home buying experience has been not a dream, but a nightmare because prices are so high, the lack of inventory. There's been so many things that have gone wrong. And to see the actions of the council and the actions of the city. And just let me tell you, just the staff on here in Norwalk are just amazing. They go, they're so helpful. They're willing to go and bend over backwards to go and make sure that things are getting done. So it's really nice to see you helping someone achieve their dream. And it's very, very important because it doesn't happen that often. And for you to be able to go and provide this to a family and actually go and make this dream come true is really, really important. So I want to go and extend my thank you for allowing this program. And, you know, I wouldn't be able to do anything without the team that I have with me. They're there making sure that we have all the documentation, that we have everything that we need. So when we present it to you, you're able to go ahead and just move these projects forwards. As Jesus mentioned earlier today, we have another 4 of these presentations that we'll have for you soon. It's just a matter of once they have a home, once they have everything, we're ready to go, and we're just glad this is happening. So thank you very much on behalf of just myself, my team, and of course the family, because they're very, very appreciative as well. Thank you so much.
And I'll just add, I think they moved in on the 24th of December, right? Oh, they moved in on the 24th of December. They received their keys
Yes.
on the 24th of December.
Yes. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Of last year. So it was a nice Christmas.
Yes. Very, very good Christmas. We even sent Santa a letter so they knew where to go and take you.
Well, thank you
Thank
once
you.
again, and we look forward to seeing you many more times. Thank you. Okay, now we have city manager comments. Mr. Gomez.
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council and our community, just want to reiterate, our thankfulness to the CERT team that was able to go out and help and assist. I would be remiss to say that our EOC team also went to Santa Monica? No.
Malibu, sir.
Pacific Palisades. To help as well. So those are the 2 teams that were able to go and help other cities, and with all the issues that happened with the fires. So I want to thank staff for not only being prepared. Richard Newton has been a great asset to our city. He has built the EOC team so that we were prepared to go help other cities, and you should be very proud of the training that they received and the assistance that they provided. So I wanted to make sure that that was outlined. Next, we have our Chamber of Commerce quarterly update, and we have Ms. Karen Spilsbury that will present.
I brought the team down with me.
Great.
So, as I was introduced, Karen Spilsbury, Executive Director, Norwalk Chamber of Commerce. I have with me on my right our board chair, Jason Perez and Mr. Rosewood, and two other board members, Doris Sandoval of the 605 Kiwanis and Mujeres Extraordinarias Foundation, Jose Rios of T&G Realty. So they're here just to stand with me tonight. So moral support like that. So good evening, Mayor Ayala, Vice Mayor Perez, and council members Ramirez and Rios. And thank you, City Manager Mr. Gomez, for inviting us here to present tonight. We're going to talk about a few of the activities that the Norwalk Chamber of Commerce has been involved with, and it's actually been since last July, since I last presented. So there's a lot that we've done since then, but I'm not going to talk about everything. So first, we want to talk about our small business season. So November 1st through December 31st, our chamber spent time promoting weekly our business community by sharing out graphics with the community on shopping small, shopping local, and with just different ideas for how they can support small businesses in the community. The kickoff for that event, or the big item in that event, is our Small Business Saturday, which we do for now 14 years, where we're able to serve as a neighborhood champion and invite people to the chamber to get some bags to shop with and get some merchandise to show off in the businesses, and then head out and shop small in the community, trying to make a local impact, which we encourage every year. So we're happy about that. We had our holiday mixer for those of you that were able to attend. It's always a fun event at the Arts and Sports Complex. Many of our restaurant members were able to provide snacks and hors d'oeuvres for the people that attended to sample and find out a little bit more about those restaurants and the things that they serve. So hopefully they will patronize them for the great food that they brought and shared with us. Paint the Town Pink is always a big event in October. We spend the month wearing pink, which I still have on, and so does Councilmember Rios. And we support locally by having fundraising days at different restaurants. We have our Men Wear Pink campaigners, of which a number of people in the room participated in that. This year, according to the American Cancer Society, we raised almost $10,000 during the Paint the Town Pink campaign. So thank you to all those that participated for supporting and their ongoing fundraising activities. And we continue our business visits on the last Friday of the month. Our ambassador team and board members will go out and walk into a business just to meet the business owner at their location and just talk to them socially and find out what's going on. We were also able to go with then Mayor Margarita Rios on her business visit day in the small business season and visit a number of new people that we had not met before. So that was a lot of fun. And then just as you received a letter from the city of Pasadena, our chamber members stepped up for the wildfire relief. The tragic and devastatingness of all of it was just unthinkable. And I know as many of us watched it on TV and just watched the pictures of destroyed houses and businesses, we were all probably thinking, what can I do to help? So a number of our members stepped up. Our board president, Jason, fed our firefighters because our Norwalk firefighters were at the scene 24 hours unendingly and did not get to go home. Fed those firefighters. He also went out to Pacific Palisades and helped feed many of the first responders out there. Our YMCA served as a collection site for collecting diapers, food, water, brought it out to the YMCA in Pasadena and the YMCA in Santa Monica. Our Mujeres Extraordinarias Foundation did a collection also and brought needed goods out to Santa Monica.
To Pasadena.
Pasadena. I knew it was one of them.
Pasadena shelter.
So to the shelter. So we had a lot of our members stepping up and helping just as all of us were individually. We even reached out to the Altadena Chamber, the Palisades Chamber. I was on a few meetings with them to find out what they needed because their offices burned down also. And all of their belongings for their chambers were gone. So we're continuing to work with the task force on how we can help them and help those chambers get back into being right and whole again. So Thank you to everybody that stepped up and helped. And now, next slide, please. Just to introduce you to a few of our new members. Interstate Events Materials, Dulce Canea Churros, Beyond Deals, some of you attended that ribbon cutting, Milagro Cinemas, First Family Child Care, Third Gen Nursing Academy, our best friend, Fifth Quarter Group, and Ray Bueno for Bueno Group Incorporated are some of our new members over the past quarter. Next slide. So we continue legislative activity. Although it's a quiet time with our legislators, they were off for the holiday season. They're just getting back into Sacramento to try to start producing more bills to make life interesting, which we all know can be difficult at times for the business community. So there's no active bills that we're looking at right now because we haven't got their list yet of what they're working on. But we are still working with our Gateway Chambers Alliance. Our upcoming legislative meet and greet has been postponed. The new date is likely June 26th. We're just getting some confirmation on that. And then we're working with the New California Coalition. We have some focus areas with them. That's a statewide coalition of people from all sides of the spectrum: business, residents, government, everybody. And they're working on housing, homelessness, and water. So those are three of the big issues for that group. And then Cal Chamber, there are some current legislative issues that we are part of the coalition for Cal Chamber. One is unemployment insurance. As many of you know, there was a lot of unemployment insurance fraud that happened during the pandemic. And the state of California budget, we are working to encourage them to continue to not put the burden of paying all that money back on the business community. They agreed in 2022, I believe it was, to keep our unemployment insurance fees low. And if you don't do accounting in your business and you don't understand just how much you pay in unemployment insurance, if this is put on the backs of the 4 million businesses in California, it's going to be devastating for a lot of them. So we're hoping that they will keep what they agreed to do back a number of years ago and keep that unemployment insurance low. And then the Delta Conveyance Project. This is all about water. And in Southern California, we rely on Northern California for water. And we all know that the water system is older and has not been updated in many years. So we're partnering on this coalition to help bring the Delta Conveyance Project forward, to find the funding, to make sure that the research can be done to see if it's feasible, and to hopefully create new water resources to bring water to our part of the state. So we're working with that. So next one. So I missed you all a couple weeks ago. I hope you had a nice council meeting, but I was at a conference in Las Vegas for our Western Association of Chamber Executives, and I had the opportunity to go to a number of different workshops. The most interesting one was the AI immersion training. So I spent all day learning about AI, and I now have my own personal AI assistant at the chamber office. So you might get to talk to that person if you call one day. But some of the trainings that I did go to: exploring member benefits, non-dues revenue, grants workshops, the K-12 connection, focusing on tomorrow's workforce today, communicating the value of membership in an uncertain economy, and social media for the win. So brought home a lot of great ideas, which I'll be sharing with our board of directors and our members. And we're looking forward to seeing where this all leads. And our next slide. So we're about member relationship building, and we do that through a variety of different avenues: our after hours networking mixers, our coffee and conversations, our business visits, ribbon cuttings, our chamber development committee, and our creating connections lunch and breakfasts. And we continue to offer these activities to the members so that they can come and meet their peers face to face and get to know each other, and hopefully build their connections and build their businesses through these activities. So we continue those. And then lastly, we have some upcoming events to let you know about. So on March 6th, if you haven't heard about it already, it's the annual mock interviews. This is where the city, the college, the school districts, the chamber, the workforce development board, we all come together and work to help our high school students, have an opportunity to do a pretend mock interview for a job interview and give them that experience one-on-one. So it's a great event. We're looking forward to this happening again on March 6th. March 7th, we're bringing back our Women in Leadership breakfast. We're very excited for this event. We have a few speakers lined up for it. I have one more that I don't have to announce yet, but I'd like to announce our Vice Mayor, Jennifer Perez, is one of our speakers. Dr. Don Green, trustee at Cerritos College, is one of our speakers. And Iso Nakasato, government relations for Athens Services, is also one of our speakers. So I'll let you know when I hear what the other one is going to be. But it's going to be a great event at our DoubleTree Hotel, and we hope you join us. Our next networking mixer is at Budget Car Sales and Rentals on March 12th. March 20th is our 12th annual 9-hole golf tournament. This is a fun event over at the Don Kanabe Golf Course, and we hope all of you will consider joining in. You can find out more about it on our website or on our event on social media. And our last one is, we finally heard what everybody was saying when it came to Angels baseball mixers, was that why isn't it the Dodgers? Well, Dodgers Stadium is a lot farther away and more expensive. So we're compromising by having our Angels baseball mixer be Angels versus Dodgers. So on March 25th, we're doing a multi-chamber mixer at Angel Stadium. They will be playing the Dodgers that night. So that is also on our website. We hope that you will take the time to look at these activities and join us in many of them as we move forward. And once again, we just want to thank you for the ongoing support from the City of Norwalk, from all of your staff, your directors. Thank you for sending Alex to our board meetings. He always brings a lot of great information about the new developments going on. Thank you, Alon, for allowing your Park and Rec folks to step in and help us with many of our different events. And Glenn, I need to talk to you after this meeting's over. So thank you again, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have about this report.
I don't think so, Karen, but it sounds like you guys are very, very busy. And we'd just like to thank Jason and Dora and Mr. Rios for being here this evening. And yeah, reach on out. Anything that we can do to help out in your efforts, and you know we're supported. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what, Dora, before you take off, I don't want to blindside you here, but do you have any information that you might be able to do announcement regarding the Seroptimus Quartermania? I wouldn't expect that you would have that.
Say that again.
Seroptimus Quartermania.
Oh, yes, that's on March 1st, and the tickets are $20, and you can purchase them on our website at SI Santa Fe Spring. I'll have to get back to you with the site, with the website, but you can purchase them online.
I didn't mean.
I think it's SI Norwalk Santa Fe Springs.org.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I didn't mean to.
And we have tickets available too if you want to purchase them tonight.
Can we, Jesus, can we get with them and put something on our social media for that?
Yes, we will do that.
Because it's March 1st, so it's like right now. It's
right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt your stuff, guys.
No, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Gomez?
Yes. We wanted to just provide some update on the new law, and this is the new crosswalk parking restrictions, otherwise known as California's new daylighting law. And it's a law that has passed, and it's kind of unknown to a lot of people, a lot of residents. It will affect parking in areas of these crosswalks. So with that, I'd like to have Mr. Ozzy Ramos present.
Thank you, Jesus, very much. And members of the City Council, Honorable Mayor, I want to take a few moments and just provide some education for members of our community, provide all of you an update as far as what we're doing as it relates to AB 413, which is California's new daylighting law. It was enacted this year. The intent of the law was to save lives and make streets safer everywhere. Daylight is a concept that safety is improved by removing parked cars and other obstructions approaching crosswalks, by keeping the area next to crosswalks clear of parked vehicles and other obstructions so that drivers approaching intersections can clearly see pedestrians in the crosswalks. Before you are a before and after picture. There's two photographs. The before illustrates a pedestrian walking in a marked crosswalk with vehicles in close proximity to the intersection. The yellow car is a vehicle approaching the intersection. As you can see from the photograph, that depending on where the vehicle is at the time, his view may be obstructed by parked vehicles. The new daylighting concept is intended to make sure that there's no vehicles parked within 20 feet of crosswalks. As the illustration and an after photograph, there's the cars that were in close proximity to the crosswalk are now removed. So from the photograph, you could see the shading in yellow can clearly give drivers a better vantage point to be able to see pedestrians in the crosswalk. And as many of you may or may not know, nationally, California is about 25% higher in pedestrian fatalities than the national average. The intent of the law was to focus on increasing visibility, and more importantly, it aims to reduce pedestrian fatalities. Here in the city of Norwalk, our social media team, along with our members of the Department of Public Safety, have done a really good job of doing the outreach to talk about some of the impacts to Norwalk. So we're leveraging social media. As you can see from the photograph there, we're pushing that out on our social media channels to make sure the community is aware of it. We're also using print publications on Norwalk Now, providing residents just some tips on what to do. And more important, we're once again leveraging our quadrant officer program to really get in those communities to make sure the community is aware of it. Some of the next steps that I want to talk about to make sure the community understands that we are in our parking permit implementation part. This does impact our parking here in the city. I want to make sure that everybody in our community knows that the city is enforcing parking. The law requires that after March 1st, we can begin enforcement. I will tell you in our communication to staff, we want to make sure we provide an education and opportunity for our residents. And so if people see people in violation of this new law, we encourage them to call our public safety department at 562-929-5732. And they can also contact the Sheriff's Department at area code 562-863-8711. The other thing we're doing as far as collaboration, we have met with our partners at the La Mirada School District and some of our other schools in our community. And we realize that this law is going to impact some of their drop-offs or schools. In January 23rd, we met with the Director of Transportation. And so we're talking about some of the things the cities can do to try to help them. The law does provide for some exceptions to commercial vehicles to unload and drop off. So we're looking at those type of things. But what I want to make sure that I communicate to this council is that we are in the research and trying to look at what best policy fits our city. Just to give a little perspective to the members of the community, we have about 770 intersections citywide. And we also have about 20 schools that may be impacted. Each campus has about 3 mid-block crossings. And so if you were to calculate all the red curb that would be impacted, it's about 80,000 curb space. The law does give the cities the options whether to paint or not paint. We are looking at all the external impacts, including costs to the city. But I just want to end that we are leading with an education. We believe that communicating with our residents, providing clear interpretation of the law, we'll be able to gain compliance. That concludes my report.
Mayor, I have a question. Ozzy, this is a question that I've gotten from residents in regards to this particular bill and the law. Is it just painted crosswalks, or is it any like a curb crossing from one curb to the other, or does it have to be a painted crosswalk?
That's a great question, Vice Mayor. It applies to marked and unmarked crosswalks. So it does impact a variety of different intersections. Thank you for bringing that question.
And the reason why I ask is because the images and the print media and everything that we put out there only had crosswalks to indicate this is the crosswalk. So I think that's where the questions came. If I'm walking in my neighborhood and I'm crossing the corner from one street to the other, is now that street, that curb in front of my house going to be painted red? Because technically it's considered a crosswalk.
That's correct. Potentially it could. We are also trying to present new type of media print to be able to provide to our public safety officers using a QR code to bring them into our website to give further information to our residents to be able to explain those examples that you just presented to us.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that. I know it's It's going to take a lot of education and a lot of relearning. I know we have parking challenges, especially in our neighborhoods that affect our residents. So now if they can't park next to a corner or the curb, or that's directly in front of their house, that's something that we need to look at and how we're going to best approach for everybody in this situation. Thank you for bringing that to us.
Ozzy, did I hear you mention that the team is considering identifying which markings would be suitable in this particular case? Because I'm not sure if I heard you that you're still considering, contemplating, or I just think it would be helpful. That way the community, and I mean, I get the social media platform and sharing the information there. Not everybody knows or understands the law. And I think in order for this to be enforceable, as well as, avoiding conflict with, we do get to a point where it's just so egregious and maybe citations have to be issued, that there's no question. There's a sign there that says no parking within 20 feet of, whatever the case may be.
Thank you, Councilmember Rios, for that question. We are looking at the different ways to mark these particular curbs. The law does give the city some options to consider. Understandably, that there is going to be a cost incurred to the city. So we are meeting with our traffic engineers here in the city, our public safety department, and our administrative team to realize what policy could best fit here in Norwalk. So we are looking at all the different options that we have available to us.
Okay, thank you.
Jesus, do you have anything else?
Yes, Mayor, members of City Council. The last item is the bi-weekly update, and that's a video that shows all of the exciting events that we've had in the past couple of weeks. So with that, we can play the video.
The Mini Mr. Sun cleanup event held its first monthly cleanup on February 8th. The program is put together by the Norwalk Public Safety Department and Athens Services. Public Safety drove around to hand out coffee and donuts to neighborhood residents. Love was in the air in Norwalk this month with multiple events in celebration of Valentine's Day. The Senior Center held Keeping It Crafty, Mosaic Collage, and Cupid's Floats on February 4th. Participants started from scratch and worked carefully to create amazing crafts as they enjoyed ice cream floats. On February 6th, the Social Services Center held a petals and paper craft workshop. The participants used their skills to create adorable Valentine cards and paper flowers to share with loved ones. The Recreation and Park Services Department held a Valentine's Charcuterie Board event on February 7th. Attendees built heart-shaped charcuterie boards made of cheese, meat, and festive red and pink fruits. And on February 13th, the Senior Center held a Sweethearts Mixer. This annual celebration was a memorable evening surrounded by friendship, love, delicious food, and a musical performance to dance the evening away.
Mayor and Council, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Next, we have our consent calendar. Is there any questions, comments, Council?
Before we move, I'd like to just discuss item number 8.
Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to get some clarification. I know we talked about, once we got on board our Department of Communications and Public Affairs, that we would eventually phase out the Merino Group as far as doing any critical or crisis outreach. I just wanted to know, Jesus, if you can please provide, I know we can't predict, it's going through June 30th. What do we foresee happening between now and June 30th where we'll need crisis communication services?
Thank you, Councilmember Ramirez and members of the City Council. First of all, we have had what I would call items that needed extra attention and extra research in the past several years, with all, beginning from COVID to some of the storms, some of the issues that we've had that we had to allocate additional resources to. And the Merino Group has been an essential part of our communications team and continues to do that. Most recently, the lawsuit and the letter that was provided to the community. It was a team effort. Them, the Marina Group, leading the writing of that letter, and so with their experience comes a network of news outlets that they have a relationship with, and they also are able to help us sort of for every aspect every aspect of the communications that's very finite. An example is this lawsuit. It's obscure to most residents as to why the state is suing us. Explaining that to the residents in a very factual form was really important, and they were able to help us do that. We do expect to have a few, at least one more letter, but I think maybe 2 letters sent out to the community, depending on how the lawsuit transpires, because I think it's important for the residents to know what is our posture, and I mean that the city council's posture, and what experiences that we would be having to do in case anything sort of turns on the court's hearings. We did have a court hearing today, and we're going to have one again on April 10th. So they're very instrumental in helping us with these very specialized items that we need their support on.
Okay, thank you for that information. It's very valuable. I just hope that as we develop our communications and public affairs, since we're investing a lot of time, money, and training in the staff, that we could eventually get them up to par, so that they could be directly involved in drafting in those messages to our community. I think that would be our ultimate goal, is to get them that training, so that they can be best utilized across the board. So just for future reference, as we come to look at the budget, as we're going to be doing in a few minutes, because communications and public affairs, I mean, that was the goal of this council throughout the years, to establish our own, so that we can manage our messages directly to our community. And I think, we've invested money, and we continue. I think we need to continue to invest into that department to get it up to par. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Rick. Margarita?
The one thing I wanted to just add to that is I'd be interested, because I did look at the information that was included for review in anticipation of this item. And one of the things that I would have liked to have seen was actual scope of work completed. So from 2020, what type of services were actually performed and rendered under their obligations of this contract. And I think that's important, particularly if there's when and if there's a request to extend a contract or continue to hire and bring on professional services, have an agreement. I, for one, would be interested to see the value. And one of the ways that I see the value is, what were the performers? What work did they actually perform? What did they render to the community, to the city, that was beneficial, that would help me to determine if indeed the services have a value and we should continue with this service agreement.
Duly noted.
Do we have anything like that?
We can get that for you.
Okay, but in the future, I would ask that when there is an item for consideration, that maybe we have some preview as to, okay, what are the services looked like in the past, so that gives us the whole picture.
We'll definitely do that. I made a note.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Margarita. Is there any more comments, questions on the consent calendar? If not, do we
I'll
have
move
a
it.
motion?
Second.
Roll call. Teresa?
Councilmembers Ramirez,
Aye.
Rios,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Aye.
Mayor Ayala.
Aye. Colleagues, does anybody have a appointment to an advisory body this evening?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I have an appointment. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Antoinette Moreno to the Parks and Recs Commission, and she is present this evening.
I'll second that.
And her application is on file.
You ready for roll call?
Yes, ma'am.
Council members Ramirez,
Aye.
Rios,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Aye.
Mayor Ayala,
Aye.
and could I have Ms. Moreno come forward to the podium to take the oath?
If I just may add that Antoinette, aka Tony, has been actively involved in our community sports and youth programs throughout the city, both at the high school and locally. So she would be a perfect fit for that commission.
Okay. If you would please raise your right hand and repeat after me. The words are there too if you need to look at them. I, and state your name. Oh, can you push the button so we can hear you? Sorry.
Oh.
Thank you.
I, Antoinette Moreno,
Thank you. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Hey, Rick, do you want to get a picture with her?
I want to take a picture, but I also forgot, and I can't remember if I made the nomination last time, but I do have another nomination to the Park and Recs Commission, and it's to reappoint Monique Yanis. Is she still on that commission? Namier, yes.
It doesn't look like she was reappointed yet, according to the term listing here.
Okay, I'd like to reappoint her this evening as well, but she's not present.
Okay. Do I have a second? Or do you just want to use the same one?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Easier. Thank you. Now, if you want to take a picture.
Welcome aboard again. Okay, we're on to item 11, resolution number 25-07, fiscal year 2024-25, mid-year budget review and revisions, and resolution number 25-08, amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 salary schedule for general and hourly unit employees and executive management and mid-management employees. Can I have a staff report, please?
Yes, Mayor, members of City Council, and our community. Tonight, we have a mid-year presentation, as is customary for us as staff to present to the City Council a mid-year review of our budget. This year, it has lots of uncertainty, already beginning with the new federal administration having them state that they would cut out federal funding. The reason that they didn't was because of the courts stepping in and saying that they would not allow it, and they would put a stay on that executive order. And so tonight we are presenting a mid-year budget without any effects of that. As it happens throughout the year, if it does, we will come to you with budget amendments and modifications. But tonight we're presenting a budget that does not include any of those effects as of yet, since the courts have stepped in to protect the federal funding that's been allocated to states and local governments as well. It is a very similar budget that we adopted. We want to make sure that you understand where we're at this mid-year point, and let the community know that we're on stable grounds, if not affected by decisions made by the federal government. So with that, I'd like to introduce Yana Stewart, our finance director, who has had her and her staff prepare the mid-year budget with the assistance of all the directors and their staffs to provide input as to where the budget is as of today. So with that, Yana?
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Mayor Ayala, members of the City Council. Tonight we'll be discussing the evaluation of our fiscal year 2024-25 budget. And we would discuss not only the current fiscal year, but we also need to address the actual audited results of prior fiscal year. That's something that's certain and audited, and where we are in comparison with the expectations that we reported to you in June when we were preparing this fiscal year 2025 budget. Also, when we will be addressing the revisions for current year, I will be addressing general fund, other funds, and enterprise funds, and future fiscal challenges that may be awaiting for us for the remainder of this fiscal year, and then in preparation of the upcoming fiscal year. And we will also share the timeline, because we are already in the middle of gathering all the information and distributing information and getting ready to prepare the upcoming fiscal year financial plan. Before I move forward, I would like to acknowledge the City of Norwalk and your leadership and commitment to the strategic plan goal 3, create and sustain a resilient and economically prosperous city. And with that goal in mind, for the very first time, the finance team and the city applied for the recognition and review of our budget for fiscal year 2025 with Government Finance Officers Association for USA and Canada. And for the very first time, we received this very prestigious recognition. That means that our document it's transparent. It's always been transparent and very detailed. But we included our link to what we do, how it relates to our strategic plan, our goals, what are our objectives, and what are our actual key performance indicators. So it took a lot of work, extra work of gathering data, and we will continue in this effort to make sure that we are doing a good job in planning and being accountable, that we follow the strategic plan. So, as I mentioned, the prior fiscal year audited financial numbers are within our budgeted revenues and within our budgeted expenditures. However, when we prepared our fiscal year plan for fiscal year 25, we were anticipating that our ending fund balance will be a little bit higher. And so we underperformed our expectations by about $800,000. So the starting point for fiscal year 2025 is a little bit worse than what we anticipated. Even though our revenues outperformed our expectation only by $75,000, we are accustomed to see it on a little bit higher note. And what I need to emphasize is that our main categories of revenues, which are our taxes, such as sales taxes, franchise fees, and the utility user tax, underperformed our expectations. And sales tax, it was by $700,000, and utility user tax by $300,000. Thankfully, the fees for services that are provided by and other revenues, general revenues, outperformed our expectations almost by the same amount. So we did okay. As to the expenditures, we ended under budgeted amount by about 8% or $6.9 million in realized savings. And those savings are primarily under personnel costs due to long-term vacancies that city actually has, and also attrition as staff comes on board and then leaves the city. The time to hire, it takes some time, so there are some vacancies in the city. Sheriff's contract was under budget by $1.1 million, and then other expenditures. So with that, this slide just gives you a reminder. If you would look at the budget document, we anticipated that we will start fiscal year 25 with about $22.6 million, and we are revising that amount to audited number, which is $21.8 million. So now looking at the revenues based on 6 months actual revenues received and the trends that we see, we are again, as you can see, total general revenues that are major revenues of the city, they are underperforming what we actually originally anticipated by about $200,000. Other revenues that are departmental revenues, that are fees for services, are slightly believe that will outperform our original expectations. And I am highlighting, and you can see the community development by $837,000. This major increase is due to plan checks of major development projects that are going on within the city. So, however, these plan check fees the cost is split between the city and consultant that is providing these services. So only $292,000 comes to the net to the city, because we are increasing revenues by $835, but also increasing expenditures, as we will see later under community development plan check. Just to remind us, major revenue sources. Thankfully, we have a property. We are no low property tax city, so that means that we collect very minimal property taxes based on property values. However, thankfully, in the past, and you remember, you can go back to 2000s when there was budgetary problems on the state level. State pretty much exchanged the vehicle license fees that city used to receive before for so-called property tax in lieu of VLF. And because this revenue source is based on our property values within the city, it's really helping us because it's growing steadily in 3 to 4%, between 2 to 4% increments every year. So as you can, that's the red portion on the slide, and we get this payment twice a year. And based on the first installment that we already received, we confidently can say that we will receive $16 million rather than $15.7 million. And the other allocation we receive is from former redevelopment agency, and that's not primarily from Norwalk Redevelopment Agency, but also a little portion from La Mirada and Santa Fe Springs. Different story is our sales tax. It's more volatile revenue source, as you can see. Prior to our residents approving, voters approving Measure P, additional local sales tax, we had only a 1%, the blue portion of the graph. And now with the Measure P,
we are in much better shape to, which really allow us to pay and sustain the services at the level that we have been accustomed to provide. And as you can see, fiscal year 2025 budgetary numbers are coming. Actually, the estimates are adjusted downwards up to $1 million, close to $1 million. It's mainly due to transportation and auto sales, and also consumer goods type of sales tax generation. And this revenue resource is very volatile due to inflation, anything that's happening in the economy, and how much discretionary spending people really have. So we are watching this major revenue source that brings together more than $26 million. Typically, we are adjusting it to $25.1 million. So we are consulting with our HDL service that they're doing the major analysis of our revenue base for sales tax. Thankfully, our pool is pretty, there's a good variety of businesses. We don't have all the eggs in one basket in one industry, but that helps us also. And I want to also highlight that this is not unique to the city of Norwalk. This is in aligned with the trends in the economy and local economy at the state. And another major revenue source, which is about over $5.8 million, that we are this time adjusting upwards by $74,000, is our utility user tax. And also volatility. You can see in 1 year in 2023, the energy prices were really high, and so higher the bills. Our sales tax UUT is 5.5%. However, it also relates to higher cost of doing business, because on the other side, we need to pay ourselves for utilities and pay for services that we are purchasing, and that's included in prices. So with that, we are moving on to the expenditure portion. So before I go and discuss this slide, I want to mention that departments submitted revisions. However, not all the revisions were able to be granted because we needed to balance the budget and remain within our fund balance policy, which is 20% of operating budget, and including minor capital outlays. So in order to balance, we had to be really very careful in seeing what really needs to be adjusted and increased in appropriations. The other item that we had to take in consideration is, yes, we will realize some personnel savings from long-term positions that are long-term vacant or have been vacant during the fiscal year. And also, we increased the allocation from highway user tax that in the past, and you can see it in the little graph on the table, we increased the offset that comes from highway user tax by $700,000. And that brings us to close to $3 million to offset our expenditures that are related to street maintenance. And also, it brings the fund balance of highway user tax to estimated $92,000, because the rest is allocated to street-related projects. So we use this funding for both ways. We use it to offset operating costs, but also we use it to help us as a local match for streets repavement or for repave the streets that are not eligible for federal funding or state funding. So I just want us to be mindful of that. So overall, the net increase to the general fund appropriations is about $400,000. 330 out of it is for personnel additional requests, and about $1.4 million in additional operating costs and $536,000 in capital outlays. And the rest that is highlighted in yellow, those are the savings or offset from highway user tax that I already explained. As to personnel changes that have been requested, so city clerk department thankfully promoted 2 of their existing employees from office assistant 1s to office assistant 2s, and there's no need to replace the positions of office assistant 1s, so we can confidently eliminate those 2 positions. Social services, we are in the era of huge social need and assistance with all the homelessness and other families in crises. There is a request to add 1 full-time position of social service worker 2. And also we're happy to report that we will be receiving and we finalized the agreement with Gateway Cities COG that's passed through. It used to be Measure H, now Measure A, to help us fund 1 full-time position of housing liaison. And this housing liaison position is about $179,000 annually of budget for this program. And there's also need to include this new position in the salary schedule. Therefore, that's why we have a additional resolution to just add this position into our salary schedule. Also, change into it's only transfer, so decrease under social services, increase under public safety. That is for a transfer of 2 positions of community workers. They'll be now under direction of public safety. So remainder of their budget is just transferred from one department to the other. There's no increase in there. Engineering is requesting to swap the senior management analyst for assistant engineer to better reflect the needs of the department with the more technical knowledge and help out to speed up all the projects that are on the books right now. And then also there are various minor requests for additional part-time hours, overtime, primarily under public safety, public services, and recreation departments. And they have been highlighted and detailed under Exhibit C to the resolution. So the same information I just went through, but this is by function or by department, and the numbers that are showed in the second column in the middle add up to $387,000, and they are net of the personnel savings and offset from highway user tax. We cannot afford to do any more replenishment of our capital reserves at this time. Next slide, if you are familiar with this slide, that shows pretty much the same information I already went through, but I just want to highlight on the bottom that we are anticipating, and everything comes to fruition as it's highlighted on this slide, that we will end up the fiscal year with the budgetary fund balance of $15.3 million, which gives us only $112,000 over 20% fund balance policy. So we are very tight, and as I said, we couldn't accommodate all the requests that have been submitted to us. So that will pretty much conclude the general fund. Now we'll be moving on to special revenue funds, and those are the operating type of costs and capital outlays. So there are various minor requests from different departments. Child care has a new increase in their contract, we hope, because some of it is in childcare is also federally funded, and some of it is local or state funds. So Prop A, that's for local match for bus stops equity project, that's under transportation. COPS grant, that's where we typically charge the overtime for our sheriff's department, and so we've been running this account pretty close to the budget. So there's a estimation that we will need additional $150,000 to get us through the fiscal year. Highway user tax, I already talked about $700,000 that will help general fund with the cost of street maintenance, but $25,000 will also fund some Firestone Bridge repair that was submitted by Public Works. Community Improvement Grant, that is a new initiative or seed money that is actually, I forgot to highlight, under general fund that would be transferred to this community improvement grant. And so that's a grant, that's the funding that city is putting aside from our general fund to help our residents with residential rehab and without major, not such a strict restrictions and requirements as federal programs. So based on the emergency that we just faced, and we believe that this is a good seed funding to put aside and see how we can help our residents, to mainly those vulnerable with the medical needs on a machine that need electricity, that would have some backup program for batteries, for the batteries. And then equipment replacement fund, the net really request is to replace 3 camera trailers, replace 1 trailer and purchase 2 new trailers. So that's about $300,000. On this next slide, we are also still in special revenue funds, but this lists a major request for capital improvement projects. And, they're all listed in the attachment to the resolution. Here, there are just highlights, but I would like to emphasize that this really shows commitment to address our local streets, and it's really over $20 million that where we continue to rehabilitate various streets in different zones in the city. With all that said, I want to also give you a little update on our capital reserves. These are funds that city during the years where we had healthier fund balances, we're able to replenish our capital reserve funds. So these are audited numbers that starts at $40 million at the beginning of fiscal year. And if we are replenishing during this fiscal year our capital reserves by $7.1 million. However, we are spending originally $27 million and now additional $8 million in funding. So if everything is spent, and these are projects that go multi-years, may not be everything spent, but let's say if everything is appropriated, we still have $14 million that's available for future capital improvement projects, computer technology, vehicle replacement, and streets and building renovation. Now we're moving to enterprise funds. We start with our biggest, the robust transit department, and we are happy to report that the department will still end with a surplus of $740,000. They're also undergoing major capital investments, and primarily into facility and tenant improvement of transportation and vehicle maintenance facilities, and then bus stops, and also electric buses and utility truck. Water fund is much tighter. Revenues are only operating revenues are only $723,000 over operating budget. And so that's very tight. And sewer fund is about $138,000 over under operating revenues, and expenditures are lower by $138,000. But that pretty much brings us to the next portion of our presentation, and that's what we think we are facing, and what challenges city and other local agencies are facing at this time. As Mr. Gomez mentioned, Really, this is era of uncertainty. And we very well known from the prior experiences that city finances and ability to pay for our essential services depend on local economy and legislative actions of the federal and state governments. So, we have a new administration that is, issuing new policies and executive orders, and they shift priorities. So we are cognizant that we may be adjusting our plans based on their actions, and because we put together here on this slide just to show all like type of this is not explicit or not all the budgeted capital or operating federal funding on this slide. Primarily, these funds are operating for the programs for our vulnerable residents. So under actuals 23-24 fiscal year, those are the numbers as they were audited and how much we spent. Budget 2025 shows you that we have up to over $42 million in funding that we may lose or not. We hoping that we will not. But these are programs are like elderly nutrition programs, senior supportive services, child care and development programs, temporary assistance for new needy families. So that's all under social services, and as you can see, that's over $10 million in the budget. Community development block grant and home programs, Section 8, with over $9.5 million. And we also have employees that work in these, programs. Then Transit Department operating grants, formula grants. They got some federal aid highway program, HSIP. That's actually for our capital improvement projects for streets. And U.S. Department, the coronavirus, that's actually ARPA money. We do have, they paid us up front. We are spending it. But, they can come and audit and do all kind of stuff. So that's the federal government. And then state government, well, yes, they did balance their 25-26 budget, roughly balanced, but also they are state and the legislative analyst office are foreseeing that the upcoming fiscal years 27, 28, and 29, they will have structural deficit. And from the blue column, those are the numbers of legislative analysts, and the red represents the Department of Finance for state of California. That's their prediction. So we remember what happened in the past. It's trying to manage their resources on the back of the local governments, deferring the payments, all kind of different exchanges and so forth. So that's the situation in our state. Local economy, region of Los Angeles, it's a vibrant region that we are gearing up for two major international events, World Cup 2026 and Olympics 2028. However, we also have been struck by disaster and a lot of other problems that we are facing, homelessness, cost of housing that we just saw and discussed here. And so we may be anticipating increased cost for all the contractual services, right? And then we are not even talking about tariffs and how it's going to affect the cost of goods and services, and also timeliness in, if they're imported, timeliness of obtaining them. Well, what does city do? We, since 2018, we are following our strategic plan, and we are following our economic development plan, and we are chipping on and doing little by little on all these different economic nodes. And going forward, But that will also bring more businesses to us, but also more residents, and that will have increased demand on services. And as I mentioned, of course, we are anticipating increased cost of providing services or purchase of goods or costs from our consultants. The other, item that we want to talk about, personal cost, and we are in the middle of negotiation with our labor representatives. We are the labor market in our industry is very competitive, and so we are competing for talent with different agencies and trying to retain talent. And also, we already talked about it many times, the cost of post-employment benefits such as medical and pension. The other issue that we are facing is that our revenues are not growing at the same pace as our expenditures. So as you can see in the years from 21 to 24, we received ARPA funding to help us with the impact of COVID. And so out of that ARPA, we had $10 million that we could allocate to general fund to help us with operating costs. And that's when we were also able to build up our reserves a little bit, capital reserves. But as you can see, fiscal year 25 is really tight. 26 and 27 look very tight as well. And this is with the information we have available right now. As we say, there's a lot of uncertainty out there, so we are very cautious. And the message is that we need to really be mindful of our spending a smart way and be smart about it. We talked about CalPERS and the, not CalPERS specific, but our post-employment cost of our benefits. This is the pension, related to pension. As you know, we have to contribute on behalf of our employees and made up for unfunded liabilities that exist. And so CalPERS underperformed for last 2 years, underperformed, and this is as of 2023, underperformed their investment expectations. Their discount rate is set at 6.8%. The last year was 5.8%. The year before was minus 6.1%. So if they don't reach their expectation, that means our contribution needs to go higher. And so we, as a city, are funded at close to 73%. That's based on the latest actual study we received from CalPERS. Our rate for fiscal year 26 is already known, and we'll be paying 33.76% on our full-time salary amount, and the rest to the 27 through 31. Those are estimated contributions, assuming that CalPERS will meet their investment expectations. So really the message is that we need, as we always been, and thanks to your support and strategic goal and being determined to remain fiscally prudent. So as we are approaching our preparation of the upcoming fiscal year budget, we are asking departments to be mindful of the information that had been shared tonight, and also understand what are the core services of the departments and what are the special programs, and be ready to have priorities of those programs in mind, and also value of those amount, expenses, how much it costs to put those programs. Also, we are also trying to keep up with our fees because it's been a long time since we analyzed the cost of providing services. So on March 4th, 2025, we'll be coming to City Council to present the finding of the study that have been conducted. There will be informational study to show us where we are and how we compare with surrounding cities. but also where we are and what level we are recuperating our cost of providing services. And we need to be also creative in how we provide services, seek public-private partnerships, and also how we manage our resources, such as staff or materials and capital outlays. So, in conclusion, we live in the era of uncertainty, and we understand that actions of federal and state agencies can have negative, if not devastating, impact on our financial situation and future. And so we need to remain prudent and fiscally responsible and be prepared for challenges that are ahead of us. And with that, if Council doesn't have any questions, I would like to share our timeline for the upcoming fiscal year preparation of the budget. We'll be busy. We started distributing the worksheets to the departments today or tomorrow. But we hope to have the first budget presentation to City Council after Memorial Day and have the document for you ready prior to it for your review, and to hold our meetings and deliberations of the final budget until we are happy with it, and hopefully have it approved by before or by June 30th, 2025. And that really concludes my presentation. And if Council doesn't have any questions, here we are. If you have any changes you would like us to include in the revised budget, we are here to take note of it and implement it. And then also we are seeking your authorization of two resolutions to Resolution 25-07 and 25-08 to authorize the changes to fiscal year 24-25 budget and adopt the new salary schedule that would include the new position of housing liaison. And that concludes my presentation.
Well, Yana, I know it's complicated to turn all this into English, but I think you did a really good job to explain it. I think it's hard for people to really realize how much goes into preparing an annual budget. And I think, I know that Government Finance Officers Association Award is a big deal. I mean, I know that from having worked here that it's a big deal. And Jesus, I'd like to get you calendared up with Yana so that we can bring the finance department in and we can recognize them, because I think the residents need to know how much effort goes into that whole process and how prudent this council's been, in making sure we're on target. As an aside, I was meeting today with some other mayors, and one popped up and said very excitedly that they had a balanced budget this year. And I thought to myself, well, Norwalk's had a balanced budget since I was in grade school. I mean, it was like, that's just what Norwalk does. But it's gotten even more refined over the years. Because I know this is a new one for GFOA that we got on the budget. But there's also another award that we get also.
Yes, that's for our annual comprehensive financial report. It used to be CAFR, now it's ACFR. And it's 38 years now in a row that the department would also prepare that financial report and submit it for review to GFOA. And we consistently, for over the years prior to my tenure here, we proudly received it. But for the very first time, we applied to have our budget document reviewed. And so it is a huge accomplishment. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a heck of an accomplishment. So let's get them on the schedule to recognize them for both GFOA awards.
Yes, Mariella, we'll do that. We'll schedule them.
Whatever's going to work for the finance department, because there's a lot of people there. So I also like to thank Vice Mayor Perez and Council Member Ramirez as members of City Council's Finance Ad Hoc. They had a chance to see this out of the gate and, give their input into it and whatnot. That's another layer that I don't know many people realize exists. So thanks to you guys for that. And I don't have any questions, but I see what our exposure is with this federal money, and that's really troubling. I mean, really troubling, because you add it all up and you're up around $40 million. I mean, at that point, we might as well just lock the doors and go home, So, but I know you guys are on top of it, and you'll keep us posted as to, what we need to do. But I personally don't have any questions. I'd like to open up to my colleagues if they have any questions.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you for those comments. Jennifer and I are eating and breathing budget before anybody, so we put a lot of time and effort into reviewing it. Just a few comments I want to make. I commend again Yana and her staff for putting together this comprehensive budget report. Some details out of our ad hoc meeting that were discussed, and I just wanted to make that public. One topic that was discussed that I brought up was the equipment replacement fund. We talked about it's recommended, or it's being proposed, $300,000 for replacement damaged equipment, purchase of 2 new camera trailers. One option was discussed that perhaps maybe leasing this equipment and having it monitored by an outside source so that we could be more effective and more efficient because of the evolving technology. Once we invest in these new technologies, then we're going to be responsible for the upkeep and maintenance, which could incur more than $300,000 down the line. So one suggestion was to look at leasing this equipment, because once we own it, we also need to have a central monitoring center and dispatch, which could be an added cost. So any way we can defer that cost to an outside company, I think we can also look at that for a cost savings. It may or may not be feasible, but we'll see once they do their research. So that was one topic. Another topic that was discussed in preparation of upcoming major events like the Olympics, as well as the World Cup coming to Los Angeles. We talked about positioning the city in a position to capture future revenues relative to the TOT tax, the transient occupancy tax, which will bring a lot of tourists into the area. So one suggestion was to direct staff to prepare a survey of the surrounding cities to see where Norwalk falls in line on its TOT tax, so that we could position ourselves to capture future revenue, and to have that reviewed by our council, and perhaps talk about consideration on where we go with the TOT. So as you see, this is a comprehensive budget report that's being looked at, analyzed, item by item. And I think this council is very prudent and very responsible with our taxpayers' dollars and making sure that it's being maximized. So with that, Mr. Mayor, those are my comments.
Thank you, Member Ramirez. Anybody else have any statement? Margarita?
Yana, when you mentioned passing out information to the different departments, what were you referring to as far as survey, or you're trying to get information back on what exactly from the individual departments?
We are distributing the budget worksheets, and when the request will come back, we would like them to have it clear, like what are the core services and programs they provide, and have priorities. If we need to look into balancing the budget, what would be proposed as a cut, really? So prioritizing services.
Okay.
So
Okay, thank you. And can you go back to the slide on personnel changes? I didn't see a page number on it, so I don't know if maybe I missed it. But it was the slide on personnel changes. And on that particular page, I guess it wasn't a whole lot of information on, okay, I'm looking at the bottom where it says various part-time hours and overtime wages adjustments are requested by public safety, public services, and recreation departments. So that's forthcoming. That's what you're talking about as far as that worksheet that you're asking from these individual departments, or
no, so these are the changes that are to be reflected in the current fiscal year budget. So those are the changes that are recapped under Exhibit C and Exhibit B to the resolution.
okay. So because I mean, I see city clerk, social services, and engineering, but I don't see anything specific to public safety or public services.
Yes. So those have been recapped under Exhibit C to the resolution and to the staff report.
Okay, so maybe I didn't catch that because I was looking for exactly what the other bullet points here where we identify, city clerk, social services, engineering, and specific positions that they may be eliminating or adding. That's what I was looking for.
No, so the part-time hours that are not highlighted, like what department is adding how much, are on page 11 to the resolution, and so I can list them. Public Safety Officer 1, 2,000 hours is requested to address street racing, parking enforcement, overnight, or as
Can you go to that
details.
slide?
I don't have it on the slide. It's on the staff report.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. Well, maybe you can just share that with me. I'm just curious about that because I think personnel is a very significant piece to the budget, and I know it's a big part of the budget because as I see it, we can have, an idea, a vision, a goal, but if we don't have the personnel to actually carry out that vision or that mission, then we're not gonna accomplish what we want to. And I know in the past, I'll just use social services as an example. I know Gabby has brought in real specific information on, this is what's working, this is what's not working, this is what would enhance the programs we currently have, etc., which I think we're doing fine with social services. What I would like to see, for example, is more information on engineering, because I know that we currently outsource, for example, for plan checks. And so to the feedback that I'm offering here based on what I hear from residents or businesses is, the delay that comes from community development because we outsource plan checks. And so there's a delay in service. So if we can maybe look at, do we need to add, additional assistant engineers? Do we need to court that workforce that's out there for beginning engineers to actually bring on to the city versus outsourcing to another city? And then as far as community public services, I'd really like to see more of a focus on really ensuring that department is like really fully staffed. I know we've talked about it before, but I'm hoping, I'm challenging our public services team to actually bring back something to the council that'll augment services so that our parks are clean, our streets are clean, our businesses are clean, our neighborhoods are clean. So that's just something that I'm hoping that we can look at or anticipate from the different departments as we try to improve services in our city. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Perez.
Thank you, Mayor. Yana and team, thank you so much. I echo my comments. Rick and I had a chance to look at this ahead of time. and having a review of the mid-year budget, of the budget that we've already approved, and the changes that either have occurred to get us to this point where we are on the budget that we are currently in, really prepares us for the anticipation of the new budget and bringing in those new positions and the more detailed breakdown of those worksheets, et cetera. So thank you for all of that. And I do support, bringing back some more information in regards to the TOT. That's a revenue that would definitely be coming to the city that doesn't directly affect our residents. That's not coming out of our residents' pockets. Those are for all of those that are visiting here in the city. And it's a way for us to enhance our infrastructure and continue to provide revenues as a revenue stream when people come and visit the city of Norwalk. Again, looking forward to that budget book. People think I nerd out when the budget comes out. So I'm really excited. I know this is a really challenging time in uncertainty, like you mentioned a few times. But as the mayor had mentioned, the city of Norwalk has always found a way. We found a way to celebrate what we have in the city, what we provide for our residents within the means that we have, all while ensuring 100% protection for our residents, our businesses, and provide the best service that we know how to. So thank you for that. And those are my comments for tonight.
Okay, very good. Well, once again, thanks to the staff, thanks to my colleagues. I think you can tell that everybody's got a different role in this budget process, and at the end we end up with a very good product. So I'd like to open this up to see if we have a motion for adoption.
I'll move it.
Second.
Council members Ramirez, is there? Sorry, thank you.
Aye.
Rios.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez.
Aye.
Mayor Ayala.
Aye. I just want to double check, but I don't think we had any. I didn't catch any speaker cards that wanted to speak specifically on budget. I know I'm a little bit late on that, but did you catch any? Okay. Okay, then that rolls us into oral communications. First up tonight is Daniel C.
Can you press the arrow, please? Down.
Okay, I see. Thank you. I'm here in support of the rent control ordinance. I'm part of an organization that cooks and serves food. It's a mutual aid group for the homeless. So we serve here in Norwalk, and we've had, we've seen an increase in homelessness, and it's a fact that 80% of people that become homeless stay where they reside. So, being that the elderly population is most at risk at this time and has been increasing in homelessness, a 17% increase in LA County has been noted this year. So, we need to stabilize rent so that we can cut homelessness and support our renters. So we've been seeing a lot of homelessness increase, and the sweeps that have been happening. We've seen a few here by the train tracks at the end of Firestone, and where I think it intersects with Bloomfield. So that's unfortunate because people, need to live somewhere. And like I said, most of these people have probably been residents of Norwalk. So if we stabilize rent, we prevent more homelessness, and also people need this more than ever, seeing that the city, even the budget reflects that people are struggling, and we need we need this as soon as possible. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Next, we have Rodolfo. It looks like Cortez. Not entirely sure.
Yes, good evening, Mayor. My name is Rodolfo Cortez. So I am a resident of Bellflower, but I am here in solidarity with my friends. I have family who live here in Norwalk because it's really time that the city of Norwalk join the other cities in our region of LA County that have already implemented rent control. So rent control will help solve the major problem that we just heard about from the Director of Finance in her presentation. Very informative. We learned about how the costs are going up faster than the revenue. Well, one of the ways to increase revenue potentially is to have more disposable income for the residents of Norwalk, right? Like if the residents of Norwalk and those of us that live around Norwalk and come into Norwalk to shop, if we have more income, we will spend it. There will be more sales tax. There will be more businesses opening up in the city of Norwalk, attracting more economic growth. And that's if you create the conditions so that people have more disposable income. Because we've all seen the charts. We've all seen how, yes, prices generally increase over time. We all know that. But there's some segments of industry that go up way faster, especially when there's problems like with the fires. Norwalk Unides, the community at large has noted how the prices have been increasing ever since the fires. That's called price gouging. And it is time to acknowledge that through a rent control stabilization ordinance that includes just cause prevention, that it includes habitability issues and making sure that these apartments are safe places in which to live. We've heard a lot about how smoke is an issue. Why can there not be, say, a designated smoking area in an apartment complex, right? There's no reason. It makes so sense that we have that at the mall. Why not at Cerritos Mall? Why not have it in places like an apartment building? So it is really overdue. It is time to put the people's money back in the people's pockets by regulating this industry that has just gone too far. It's harming our community here in Norwalk. More families are being evicted. It's creating a big social health crisis. This is not good. So please, it's time to put that on the agenda. Let's have rent control and habitability issue solved now. Thank you.
Next, we have Yolanda Cardenas. Please come up.
I'm going to help with the interpretation.
Buenas tardes a todo el consejo. Mi nombre es Yolanda Cárdenas y soy residente de la ciudad de Norwalk. Con respeto me dirijo hacia ustedes para hacerles saber nuestras preocupaciones.
Hello, good evening, council. My name is Yolanda, and I'm here to share with you my thoughts.
Me dirijo a ustedes para hacerles saber nuestras preocupaciones
I'm here to share with you our worries
sobre el edificio libre de humo y control de renta.
to talk about buildings that need to be free of smoke and rent control.
Nos preocupa demasiado
We're very worried
Nuestros trabajos son muy escasos y trabajamos por el mínimo.
We don't get paid enough, even though we work a lot.
La verdad, el salario que ganamos apenas nos ajusta.
With the salary that we get, we're barely able to get by.
Los alimentos para nuestros hogares son más caros
Our housing is very expensive,
y tenemos en esta ciudad viviendo de 20 a 30 años en el mismo edificio.
and for many of us, we have lived here for 20 to 30 years.
Nos preocupan nuestros compañeros mayores de edad,
We're very worried for our elders,
que la pensión que les dan apenas les alcanza para sobrevivir.
and because they're living on fixed income, which is barely enough to get by.
Queremos pedirles de favor a todo el Congreso que nos apoye, por favor, con el control de renta.
And we ask the council today to please support us for rent control.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Next, we have Margarita Cornejo.
Muy buenas noches. Venimos todos. Mi nombre es Margarita Cornejo y estoy aquí presenciando el pedir a sus honorables personas el control de rentas y el beneficio de la salud por el constante uso del cigarrillo en los departamentos. Por lo tanto, reintegro mis muy sinceras gracias por escucharme. Honorables personas, muy buenas noches.
My name is Margarita Cornejo, and we're here today to talk about the issue of smoke and cigarettes inside of buildings and the need for rent control. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us.
Thank you, Margarita.
Okay.
Now I'm going to call up, I think it is Mateo Gil.
Hello, Council. My name is Mateo Gil, and I'm a member of the Norwalk Tenants Union, a group of leaders in the community that is actively growing. And we're here today to ask for two things. Like what was mentioned earlier, we're in an era of uncertainty, and those who are most vulnerable are our elders. We're seeing fires all over LA County, and we're seeing a lot of price gouging. We can protect the residents of our city by passing an effective rent control. Many of the neighboring cities have already done so, and I think it's time that Norwalk joins these other cities in this fight. It is also important that we pass enforcement for the ordinance of smoke-free buildings. It makes no sense to pass an ordinance if you do not plan to enforce it. It makes folks feel like you do not care. So we're here to ask that you do these two things that are important for the tenants union at this day. Here I have a letter from all of our members, and we hope that you accept this letter today, which explains the 2 points that I mentioned. Thank you.
You can hand your letter to the city clerk. To the city clerk, right here. Thank you. Santu Beecham, please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Vice Mayor, and council members. Happy Black History Month. Since being here for almost 4 years, I've inquired about Black History Month. I see a flourishing activities program, but we can do better. I've brought this up to council before, and when I joined a city commission, I was told by one of my fellow commissioners that Black History Month events can happen, but they must be tasteful and respectful, as if we need a clarification on how to celebrate ourselves. And most recently, our son was called a Black African monkey when he wore his Black History shirt to school. Whew, that is a lot. I was disappointed not to see Norwalk proclaim February as Black History Month. Yes, there are 2 events, and I'm glad about this, but very little promotion. When I tried to promote these events at my son's school, I was told by the city that the city can't promote these because of the space logistics. So, mind you, this is just an art exhibit and storytelling. So I guess attendees must follow social media accounts to learn about Black History Month. Sorry, I'm talking about my son. I was also disappointed not to see Black History Month celebrated in Norwalk Now. Las Posadas was mentioned in December, January, and February issues. Hispanic Heritage Month was also front page, center last September, but no mentions of Black History Month. Our city motto is a connected community. Are we a connected community or only connected in some ways and resistant to change? A connected community can evolve and change. I've brought up other cultures also. My family has a diverse heritage. We celebrate Lunar New Year. We drove to San Marino to the Huntington. My son asked, why do we drive so far? The answer is pretty simple, because there's nothing here. Where I live, a multi-million-dollar project that the city brags about, we have about 25% Black homeowners. Within the last 4 years, we have lived there. About 60% would probably celebrate Lunar New Year. So my request today is that we have diverse celebrations and activities. So I'm here to ask that our city council lead us. If you lead us, we follow. Diversity and representation does matter. Thank you very much.
I want to make sure that this isn't a point in which we can interact, but I'd really like to have you talk to our Director of Recreation, Mr. Perdomo, because of input through the years that we did programming, pretty extensive programming actually for Black History Month. So maybe you can talk to him after the meeting so that we're clear, because when you say it's not enough, I'm not sure if you're aware of that or you're not aware of it. And if you are and you think it needs to be more, then we need to talk about that. We need to respond to that. I agree with you. But talk to him after the meeting and make sure we're on the same page, please. Next speaker is Jesse Flores.
Hello again. My name is Jesse. I'm the Executive Director of Norwalk Unidas. We are the parent organization over the Norwalk Tenants Union. I'm here to express my support for rent control, as we've done before, but also enforcement of the smoke-free ordinance of multifamily housing that was passed 2 years ago. So regarding rent control, there's an ever-increasing need for it, as residents, including myself, are finding ourselves being priced out of Norwalk. Inflation is high, cost of everyday goods is skyrocketing, eggs are expensive. I don't really eat eggs, but for everyone else it does. And so a percentage on cap on rent would do us wonders. And we're not asking for a complete cap of 0%. we're asking for a similar percentage that surrounding cities such as Bell Gardens and Maywood have done. And we need the rent control soon. Folks are having to leave Norwalk. As of this month, according to Zillow, the average rent for a one bedroom is $2,495 a month. 2 years ago, it was $2,215. So over 2 years, it increased around $250, which may not sound like a lot, but for folks that are trying to compete with all these other costs, it is a lot. And then second, regarding enforcement of the smoke-free ordinance, our tenants' union members are happy to have had the ordinance passed in 2022. Our member and senior commissioner, Martha Mesa, she was a big, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but she is a big advocate of the ordinance, and so she's happy that the council listened to her request those few years ago. But now we're requesting that the ordinance be enforced. This is a public health issue, especially for our older tenants. Some of our tenants have described at Belcourt Apartments that's been an issue. And so, this enforcement can be done with the help of our Department of Public Safety, as it says so in the actual ordinance. And Norwalk Unidas, and in particular our Norwalk Tenants Union, we'd be happy to be part of any discussions about the enforcement, as we, what better way to, know where smoking is happening than ask the tenants themselves. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Jess. And do you have any more cards? None? Neither do I, so this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.